University, and we struggled with it in various ways, and students themselves have struggled with it in various ways. But suddenly, I would say, after the Rohit suicide incident, it has become a national issue. And there are many different constituencies interested in the question and wanting to become active in the question. It's something that concerns political parties too. They're anxious about this. But despite all this, I still feel there's a great deal of illiteracy about this problem inside the campus, but also in general, conceptually and academically. So even as teachers, and most of the time when I speak today, I'll be speaking about myself. There is a sense in which our understanding of this problem remains superficial. There isn't an informed or widely discussed kind of way of thinking about what is happening to the students in the university. When I say informed and widely discussed, I mean something like this. There are no studies that tell us about the background of these students in any detail. And we know roughly they come from this is happening. There's no sociological studies that have been done. There are no economic studies that have been done. There are no studies that track individual students or do longitudinal studies that tell us what happens to them as they move from a village primary school to a small town college to the big university. In fact, very often I've encountered students who tell me that life was fine until they came to EFLU or to HCU. That there is something specially vicious about the Central University as far as they're concerned. Somehow because of that, I think, we have not really been able to come up with satisfactory or even completely appropriate ways of responding to this. And again, I'm speaking about myself. I'm not sort of pointing a finger at anybody else. I feel that one is swimming in unknown waters all the time and trying to come up with some kind of response. But as a result of having done this for 20 or 25 years, we're still not better off than we were in the early 90s. So there is a huge kind of conceptual, political, intellectual gap that is there, and that is astonishing given the fact that we are in universities, that we've been in. There's another problem, as I understand it. This is a stop and start issue. But every time there's a crisis, there's a suicide, restitution, students have been thrown out, failed and thrown out. Then there is an uproar, there's a concern, that people come together, students are protesting, and obviously all that is done in one kind of idiom. And it will always be that immediate idiom that you draw on. But after that dies down, and it will die down very fast because that idiom always takes you into a high pitch and it's very confrontational. It's guaranteed, as it were, to have to stop. After that dies down, then there's nothing. There's nothing to continue this discussion. And we haven't, within the ongoing life, and the university is an institution, it's not a class, it's not an upper class that has to be overthrown, it's an institution that we have to claim. It should belong to us, it should belong to the students who are in it. So a totally this is not the way I want to put it, an approach that repudiates the university, that names it as hostile, impossible, corrupt, vicious, and so on, which it may be, is not going to get us anywhere, because that is the very university we have to claim and live in and work with. So the concepts that we're using also have to be rethought in a way that it is more enabling for us to move forward, to continue. So I'm thinking a little bit more about teachers and teaching, and I was thinking, what are we as teachers doing about this? And I think we're concerned. I don't think there is any teacher in the university today who's absolutely not concerned about this. We've reached that stage. And very broadly, I'd say there are 3 types of teachers as far as this is concerned. There's a secular liberal teacher and a modern person who has completely overcome caste, does not believe that they are casteist in any way. They do not acknowledge that they're privileged, they don't acknowledge that they're privileged. They think they're just competent, that they are capable, and that's how why they're there. So they don't acknowledge their privilege, they don't acknowledge that that privilege has got them where they are, and they don't acknowledge that that privilege is operated in the context of the university. So these are the secular modern, and by and large I would say this is the largest group in the university. There may be people who are out and out viciously caste-based, who want their own. HCU is this example always, right, of a person who had his own well dug because he would not drink the water from the rest of the university that was shared by everyone. So there's that extreme traditionalism, which I feel is now more or less irrelevant. But there may be also, and my Dalit friends swear that this is so, and don't agree with me on this point, there may be also many people who are quietly and secretly and also viciously casteist in a traditional way, who do not actually want to see these students in the university, are upset by their presence there. It's possible, it's possible. I don't myself see this so much. I tend to see the secular modern teacher as the most important figure in all this, and also the most difficult one to handle. So what does a secular modern teacher do? He or she herself is completely left caste behind. It's not an issue. Caste is a problem that these new students who are coming into the university, they carry the stigma of caste. In an older sense, it's a stigma. In a newer sense, it's the inability to study, no background, no English. It is, as my friend Aniket Javare once said, they moved from being untouchable to being unteachable. Right? That's a new category, if you like. Here is a student who's in the university, but nobody is capable of teaching them, or they're unteachable. But at the same time, this secular modern teacher who is competent, proud of his abilities and or her achievements, is absolutely unbending when it comes to the issue of standards. What is the kind of English you should write? What is the syllabus that has to be taught? How much ground you have to cover? How many marks you have to get in the exam? Exactly how the exam is to be held? These questions are non-negotiable in the worldview of that kind of teacher, that secular modern teacher is about. And yet these are the very questions that are making life, issues that are making life intolerable for the students who are coming in. And if we cannot have a syllabi, an examination system, a culture of learning and teaching which is open to these students, then that is where the problem lies. That is really where the problem lies. So these teachers pride themselves on being strict, they pride themselves on having high standards, high educational standards. And often, of course, they're not necessarily the people who are very creative thinkers or are producing new ideas or are able to try and understand how their discipline engages with the real world in which they are living. And the real irony is that what is happening today is that these teachers who are after quality are also teaching subjects. So they'll be teaching, say, linguistics or English literature or French literature or something like this. And I'm talking about EFL, where the other universities will have other stories to tell about what they teach. These are the very departments in which more and more students from Dalit and OBC communities are coming in, because these are the departments that upper caste students are abandoning. They're going off into medicine and engineering and into the sciences or management or whatever it is. Nobody of those groups are coming into these schools. So we're getting a very conflicted, very difficult situation in which there is no connect between the teachers and the students in many of the social sciences and humanities departments. And in the sciences, we have yet another kind of teacher. And for instance, I want to say one more thing. In some of these language departments, for instance, they cannot run the department without the Dalit and OBC students who are coming. And the Dalit and OBC students are only doing Chinese or Japanese or Russian or whatever it is, or any other language, because that's the only way they can get into the university. That's the only option that they have. So that's a kind of real-time situation in which we're living. And the reverse side of that coin is that department would have to shut down had it not been for the students. So it's a very funny kind of situation where you're dependent on the students for your very existence, and at the same time you will not address them. So the sciences, and we also have people like this in non-science kinds of institutions. Say something more about that last. Yes, there is no real reflection on education among the teachers. We're not thinking about question of education. We're thinking about our disciplines, we're thinking about doing research, we're thinking about publishing, we're thinking about presenting papers wherever we are, we're thinking about our profile as academics. But the investment in the process of education is simply not there, and there is no institutional encouragement or support or even location. There are no locations within the institution where education is being discussed. That's not on the agenda. So I was just thinking, what would be an example? And I thought one example would be, someone tried to teach me Telugu. Now I know a little bit of Telugu. I can manage with Telugu. I speak it when nobody else is, no senior Telugu person is looking, and I get along. I really get along, and I can understand everything that's being said in Telugu, even very complicated philosophical kinds of speeches, because I've grown up sort of sitting in audiences where people are lecturing in Telugu, and I can understand. But I'm sure that if I went to a Telugu Pandit's class, I would fail every time. I would not be able to make my way through. Okay? So what am I saying? I'm saying I know the language, I can use it, I have some skills here, it's functional, but as soon as I move into the academic space, everything that I know becomes non-knowledge, wrong, impossible. And I think that sort of reflects the experience of many of the students who come to us. They come as skilled people. In fact, Sri Ramalu, who was one of the people who was recently, what should I say, recently charged with defamation and found guilty and so on, actually said, when I came here, I knew 6 languages. And now I know nothing. Now, okay, maybe he's deluded, I don't know, you can say anything about it, you just say it's wrong. But as a student of literature, I never say anything's wrong. I look at that sentence, I want to know what it means. What could it mean? What could a statement like that mean? And I think that is really what we need to be thinking about. What is the process of de-skilling, rendering ignorant, demoralizing, pushing out that is happening in the university? And what are the skills and knowledges that are lost in the process? My skill of actually getting along with Telugu, and it's a good skill, and other people should learn how to do it without necessarily having done an MA in Telugu or whatever it is. But if I come out at the other end, feeling that I don't know the grammar, I don't know how to write, I don't know how to read properly, etc. If I come out at the other end feeling like that, then this is a destructive education system. So that's a funny example, just to make it clear what. Okay. Now this kind of teacher, efficient teacher who will stick to the syllabus, who always thinks of quality, whose marks, etc., is also one who is very quick to take offense if the students in any way question his or her authority. Very quick to take it. And can be extremely punitive. I don't know why this is so and why we get that particular kind of context, but I have a feeling that there's a lot of insecurity there, that you turn punitive and you turn hostile, where somewhere you're not sure about your own position. This is just a guess, but this may be so, but I've often wondered why people become so harsh, why they pursue students, why they punish the weakest of the weak students with heavy, terrible punishments that are going to last them all their lives. I mean, these are cruelties beyond ordinary imagination, and coming from a teacher, you really wonder how this would happen. A third category. So my first category, my first category is the secular modern teacher. My second category is the scholar teacher, scholar. Now the scholars are experts, academics. They in fact chase Dalit students out of the class. I don't know whether Mohan is here. He's one of the group that is organizing these lectures. Mohan is fond of telling us the story of how he tried to register for a course in English grammar. So in EFLU, you actually can choose the courses that you do, and Mohan and a whole other crowd of Dalit students are keen to learn. They're there and they don't just want to leave the institution without having acquired some skills and knowledge. This is something else that's never recognized, that the Dalit students want to learn. They are hungry for learning and knowledge and skills and information. And so he and another friend of his registers for this course in English grammar, which is taught by one of the most distinguished scholars in the university. And as soon as he enters the class, as usual, the Dalit students sit at the back and will separate. Nobody asked them to, but that's where they will gravitate. And as soon as she saw them enter, she said, this is not really a course that everybody can take. This is really a very specialized course in grammar. It's not a course for everybody. And of course this went on, and after 2 or 3 sessions they left. So there are many ways in which we know that people are driven out of labs in science departments. We know that people do not survive in classes. There's a huge dropout rate. There's one of the first 1989 or 90, I think, one of the first papers that was written on this question was looking at the failure rate in the English department in HCU. What does failure rate mean? That paper asked. So dropout and failure is engineered. It's actually, there's an active, absolutely blatant push out from the expert teachers, these great academics and intellectuals that we have, who literally consider these students a nuisance. They never think it is they who can't teach them. They always think that it is the student who can't teach them. And then there's a third category, and I put myself in the third category, and so I'm most interested in this third category. I think we're teachers who are worried and concerned, and we see quite a lot of people like me here. And we acknowledge, we sense the workings of the past and how we are implicated in this process. We accept all that. And we also want to work along with what is happening among the students and in the public. We would like to push that grain, be part of it, not necessarily to give a huge leadership, but to work along with what is happening. And I think this is where I can come back to where I started it. But our understanding, our skills, our capabilities are not enough. We have a certain incredible illiteracy where this particular problem of the new group of students who are coming to college is concerned. Now, one of the things is that as soon as I say this often, then every colleague will come up with, no, I didn't have a problem. No, I managed to get this student through to her PhD. No, I don't. This total inability to see that there is something much larger than what you managed or did not manage. Yes, different people manage something or the other for some reason or the other. But that collective acknowledgement of our incapacity as teachers is something we have to start. The second thing we have to do is we have to set up studies. We need more information. We need more analyses. We need concepts. And I am a product of the women's movement. So for years and years, I've always known that if you want to understand anything, you have to work with a group, a large group with different kinds of people in it. And that you learn from different kinds of people. You don't just go into a library and you sit down. From a group, you read, you understand, you discuss in a group, then we can begin to meet. So I'm always hopeful, and I think maybe times come for us as teachers, as a group, teachers and maybe other intellectuals who are also interested in it, or others who are interested in it, not necessarily, to talk to each other, but also to talk with our valid students in a one-to-one, face-to-face exchange over a period of time, not one meeting, to understand what this problem is. Now, again, some of us would say, yes, I know what it is, but we haven't systematically addressed ourselves to knowing this. We haven't sat down and figured out how we want to know it. What will be the inputs into this knowing, and so on. And finally, and I'm coming to an end, I'm sure, as always being a teacher, you overstretch. Finally, I think there's a huge responsibility of teachers. Huge responsibility that teachers have to create an ethical atmosphere in the university as a whole. This isn't just what you do in your own classroom, but have a university where these things matter. And I think this is where we do have some success. We really do have some success. And the success is in the non-Dalit, non-OBC students who are passionately invested in these issues and are there together with the others, with their friends and their colleagues and so on, in all these battles. And a wonderful example, if you want an example, and maybe that's an example one should study again as a case study, is this astonishing little institution called Dalit Camera, which was started by Ravi Chandar other people, and really rapidly became a larger group in which many non-Dalit students are also involved, but under the leadership of these young Dalit men who are, and I think one woman, who are imagining how this thing can go forward. It is, somebody can do a PhD on that institution if you really try to understand it well enough. And that of course brings me to that final question of what kinds of research should be done. Should we be doing research on abstruse theoretical concepts that should be researched in Germany or in Iceland or something like that? Or should we be doing research on subjects that really touch us and are meaningful for us and are alive in our own context? Let's stop it.